Gone for an easy session today. Just on Cold Knap Beach. I was going to go to Friars Point, but parking down here in Barry can be a nightmare, so I'm told. So tide's not really big enough for how I like to fish this mark, but I'm set up on a bit of a little shelf. Got my tent up. Just see what comes out. I've got 2 rods in the water at the moment. I know there's been a few fish coming off here, so we'll just see where it goes. Use a mixture of same old thing, poly dongles. I don't use massive dongles, as in bait wise. 65, 70 mil with a 5/0. That's my go-to. And 175 gram leads. Nothing technical. On the other rod I have got my 2-hook clip down dongle out there, and I am going to be putting a 3-hooker out as well, just to see if there's any bits, bobs, small things. That 1 tip is going, but yeah, just see what comes out. Have a little session in it, see where we go. So literally first cast on a bait in which I very rarely use. I use a bit of bluey and not a bad size spotty, to be fair. A female, pretty little fish. But there we are, first cast, bit of bluey and squid. So let's hope that's a sign of things to come. The eyes on them, be careful at the tail, all the spines. But gorgeous, gorgeous little fish. Well, there we are, first cast, little spotty. Here we go. So here's something maybe I bring different to the table compared to most anglers. Herring going out this time, a very underrated bait. So my dongles are not huge. Measure them up. Take a chunk out. Some people would use that as a bait. I get 2 out of that. So you split it down the centre again. So you get 2 pieces about the size of a finger. That goes in there with that. Bait back down. So that's all it is. Thread it on your baiting tool. These are the ones I make myself. I just come up with an idea for a baiting tool for a dongle that works for me. You want a little bit of squid. I always put the squid, instead of on the scale side, I put it on the meat side to sort of hold that bait a bit better together. A little bit of elastic just to hold that squid on a minute. A few turns up, back down, then you gotta hook the bait on. Take that down from there, it'll be a bit easier to show you. So you hook your bait on to the top of your tool. I use little split rings on my dongles. Pull the hook to the end of it and then just bind it down. I'm going to go nuts with the elastic, but you do have to get a good bit on there. And to lock mine in place, I go around there 3 or 4 times, then I go the other way around there a few times, and that's it. Snap that off. I mean, it's hard enough now to get the tool out of the bait, and there it is. that is all I use. That's the biggest baits I use when I'm re-fishing. Well, all my fishing basically. And then in comparison, that's an old DCA 157 at 175 gram lead. It's not much bigger than the lead, so that's my go-to. Reason for the ring on the bottom, I don't like having a loop. I had them stick to an imp before and it sort of put me off. It's like I don't want it to not release, so I like to put it on a ring, and you know now that's going to release every time. So let's get a bait out there. Well, it's not going bad so far. 2 casts, 2 fish. Another little spotty, less markings on this one. Still, pretty little fish all the same. Angry little gets. Male this time, it's his claspers there. So, there we are. 2 casts, 2 fish. Make that. Three casts, 3 fish. Little blonde this time. And that is on my 2-hook clip down dongle. Show how small this is now. The pliers to get that out. There's your little blonde. Nothing massive. But that is a 1/0 Sakuma 440. And that's only a 50mm bait. Bluey and squid again. And I haven't got a bait in the water in a minute. Look at my hair. Because both rods shot off at the same time. So, let's get a bait out. So it's going well so far. I've had 3 casts, 3 fish, 2 little spotties and 1 little blonde. So let's have a look at this rig. I've been using it for quite some time now. It is only short. So it's spring at the top. I think it's only about a 15-inch, maybe 17-inch snood to a size 1/0. That is a Sakuma 440 circle 1/0, and that's only a 50mm dongle with a little split ring. To that's a Tronics Cascade swivel, fixed in place. I don't like the bottom snood moving. And then the same again, short snood down to another size 1/0 on a 50mm bait. So the rig in itself is probably only just about 3 foot, and obviously it's in 2 halves. I've been using it for since about Christmas time last year, and I find it casts just as far as a loop rig. I don't see any real difference in how far it travels. I'm not a massive lover of long snoods, long rigs, so mine are probably only maybe 3 foot long, that body. The only thing I am going to change on it, because I do like using it on rough ground as well, but when you're on rough ground, obviously if you don't lose the lead, or even if you do, the lead link is below the bottom fish. So what I'm going to do is, where there is a crimp at the bottom, I'm going to change that for like a piece of silicone tubing, pass the body through it twice and pull it tight, and it makes like a stop knot, so that it'll fix in place, and then when you get a fish, that will slide down, so the fish will be below the hook, below the lead, that's all. So yeah, that's the rig. Like I say, I've been using it for quite some time. If you wind a cast up with them, they do go miles, and because they circle hooks, you've got the confidence of, you can, if you've got a small bite going, you can leave it there for 5, because that fish has more or less hooked itself, so to speak. So you can then just leave it there, knowing you've got another hook out there, and hopefully you pick 2 fish up. I've had double shots of, you know, obviously double shots of dogs. I've had double spotties on it, spotty and a blonde, you know. I've had plenty on there. I was going to tie up a few, with bigger, like say 3-0s, slightly bigger dongles, and fish double crab baits and try and get 2 hounds at a time. But I've had enough hound fishing now. I've caught enough of them. So that's why tonight I haven't brought crab with me. I've got squid, mackerel, herring and bluey, which is a bait you don't really see me use that often. But there's a bit of a shortage on sand eels. And a lot of people say you can't go ray bashing without sand eels. You've got to have sand eel, got to have sand eel. But I've had a lot of rays in the past, say 2 years, on mackerel and squid. So I'm quite confident going without sand eel for rays. I don't mind. Yeah, so that's what we got. It still makes me laugh, mind, because I'm such a child. Watch the grips on my rod now and I turn my light out. What a child. Going with a dark grips, like. I don't want to get a grip. 38 going on 8, I think I am. It's going rather well. There is another blonde. Not the biggest, but a welcome fish. So far I've had a smallite as well. There was a family here talking to me while I was dealing with that, so I couldn't get that on camera. I'll put a picture up after of that. But tonight's turning to be one of those sessions which proves you don't need sand eels to go ray fishing. I'm literally using squid, mackerel, bluey and herring, and I've had so far 2 spotties, 2 blondes and a smallite. That's not bad. And there we are. Lovely little fish. So let's get him back. Well, we're still out, yeah. That's spotty number 4. With 4 spotties, 2 blondes, 2 smallites so far. Pretty good session, to be fair. Right down rod's going. Yeah, proves a point. You can go ray bashing without sand eels. You can do it. There's a 2 hooker on that rod anyway, so we'll leave that alone a minute and see what comes out. But yeah, there we are. So far, that's the numbers. I love rays. I would rather fish for rays than anything else that swims in the Bristol Channel. They are my favourite fish, especially these ones, the spotties. I absolutely love them. They fight so hard for a little fish. Fantastic. But let's get him back and see what comes out on the other rod. So literally within seconds, like I said in the last clip, the other rod was going. There's another spotty again. It's turning into some session, this, and we're only roughly now coming up to high water, so I've done nearly 3 hours of the flood. So I'll probably do an hour of the ebb a minute. See how that goes. If it's no good, you know, I'll pack up. The van is literally by there. But yeah, there we are, another spotty again. So it's turned into quite some session, this. On the last casts now. It's not a bad size smallite. Packed that rod away now, had a ripping bite on it. It was that. So that rod's going away. The male, it's got the claspers. And males generally tend to have spines on their cheeks. So be careful when you grab them. But there we are. It's been a banging session, to be fair. It's been one of those sessions I needed. I love ray fishing.